meet again. This is a lesson on English language and it is for Form 2. So let's look at the details. We are using textbook past 2 and then the theme is people and culture. We are doing unit 7. Topic is journeys. Before we begin, let's look at the learning standards. We have main skills and also complementary skills. So main skills, we have listening 1.1.6, understand with little or no support, longer simple narrative on a wide range of familiar topics. And then we have reading 3.1.5, recognize with support attitude or opinion of the writer in simple longer text. And then let's look at the complementary skills. Listening 1.1.5, understand with little or no support more complex questions. And reading 3.1.1, understand specific details and information in simple longer text on a range of familiar topics. So, for the introduction, do you know the world's unusual modes of transport? There are 6 pictures here. Now let's look at the answers. Number 1, the transportation is called suspension railway. It is in Germany. Number 2, it is cocoa taxi from Cuba. And 3, we have bamboo train from Cambodia. Number 4, maglev from Japan. Number 5 is party bike in the Netherlands. And lastly, we have jeepney from the Philippines. Let's start the lesson with vocabulary and speaking. We are going to read and listen to 7 cool ways to get around, and then complete the sentences with words from exercise 1.
Unit 7. Vocabulary and Speaking. Transport. Exercise 2.
7 cool ways to get around.
The Amish people don't use cars. They prefer to travel the old-fashioned way by horse and carriage.
Lisbon is famous for its green form of public transport, the tram.
The best way to see the Greek islands is by yacht.
You get a great view of the Sahara Desert in a hot air balloon.
These Irish travellers live in a caravan and take it with them wherever they go.
In London, the quickest way to get around is on the Underground, which is also called the Tube.
Chinese people like travelling by bicycle because it's cheap and healthy.
For task 2, just now you read and listened. So then you have to complete the sentences with words from exercise 1. So let's look at the answers. For picture 1, the answer is horse and carriage. For picture 2, the answer is tram. Number 3 is yacht. And then number 4 will be hot air balloon. Number 5 is caravan. Number 6 is the underground. And number 7 is bicycle. Next, exercise 3. Answer the questions. Which form of transport? Number 1, carries large, heavy things from one place to another. So the answer is lorry. Number 2, which form of transport? Transport people by air in an emergency. Answer is helicopter. Number 3, which form of transport is a fast, noisy vehicle for 1 or 2 people? Answer is motorbike. Number 4, which form of transport carries people and cars on short journeys across the sea? Answer is ferry. The last question, which form of transport takes large groups of passengers on long journeys by road? Answer is coach. Now, we are going to continue with the next lesson, which is reading.
Unit 7. Reading. A feature article. Exercise 1.
Journey into the modern world. Channel 4 follows a group of Amish teenagers as they leave their homes in the USA for the first time to travel to Britain.
Who are the Amish?
The Amish are a group of people in the USA who live very simply, often on farms, far away from big cities. They prefer the old-fashioned way of life and avoid using a lot of modern gadgets. They don't have cars and usually travel around by horse and carriage. Amish teenagers spend most of their time with their families. Girls do a lot of household chores, like cooking and cleaning, while the boys help their fathers with jobs outside.
Meet Andrew Miller.
Andrew is 18. He's never used a computer, had a TV in his home, or owned a mobile phone. He doesn't wear fashionable clothes or listen to rock music. He prefers hunting with his bow and arrow and ice fishing. Andrew has lived in the state of Mississippi all his life and hasn't been to a big city before. He's never been to school either. His father taught him at home with his 12 brothers and sisters. Along with 4 other Amish teenagers, Andrew is about to go on a journey to Britain, which will change his life forever. Andrew's curious to find out what life in Britain is really like. I've read about the history of England in books, but I've heard terrible things about the English, he says. When he goes back home, he will decide whether or not he wants to continue living in the Amish society.
The trip.
First, Andrew is going to stay in London. He'll stay with the family of a British teenager who is interested in fashion and rap music and likes playing video games. During the rest of his stay in Britain, Andrew will have the chance to visit a nightclub, go to a music festival, and try some traditional British sports.
Watch Channel 4 on Friday at 8 p.m. to see how Andrew gets on.
Did you know? Lots of Amish teenagers use rollerblades to get around.
For the exercise, copy and complete the notes about Andrew. So name, Andrew Miller, age 18, comes from Mississippi, family, father, 12 brothers and sisters, hobbies, hunting with his bow and arrow and ice fishing. Reason for visiting Britain, to find out what life in Britain is really like. Read the text again. Are the sentences true or false? Correct the 4 sentences. Number 1, Amish children help their parents at home. Number 2, Amish people don't use any transport. Number 3, Andrew likes watching TV. Number 4, Andrew has been to Britain before. Number 5, Andrew is going to stay with a British family. Let's look at the answers. Number 1, Amish children help their parents at home. Answer is true. Number 2, Amish people don't use any transport. False. Amish people usually travel around by horse and carriage, and lots of Amish teenagers use rollerblades. Number 3, Andrew likes watching TV. false. Andrew has never had a TV in his house. Number 4. Andrew has been to Britain before. False. Andrew has never been to Britain before. Number 5. Andrew is going to stay with a British family. True. The word check, we have old-fashioned, gadget, household chore, hunting, bow and arrow, curious, get on. Did you know that lots of Amish teenagers use rollerblades to get around? So how is Andrew different from most teenagers? Write 5 differences. For example, you can write he doesn't listen to rock music. So let's look at the answers. You can write he doesn't listen to rock music, he doesn't watch TV, he has never used a computer, he doesn't own a mobile phone, and number 5, he doesn't wear fashionable clothes. So do you think Andrew will enjoy his trip to Britain? Why not? You can discuss this with your friends. I think you can write, for example, suggested sentence. I think he will enjoy his trip to Britain because. Then you can write your own ideas. Here are some pictures of Amish houses. And here you have Amish transportation. Then you have Amish clothes or attire. Next, Amish farming. And then we have Amish towns. Let's look at Amish schools. So you have 4 pictures here. And then just now it was mentioned that Amish teenagers use roller blades. So let's look at Amish teenagers. Dear pupils, let's look at the Amish population profile for the year 2020. So the population in America, the estimated population of Amish of North America, adults and children as of June 2020 is 350,665 people. And then the states and provinces. North American Amish communities are located in 31 states and 4 Canadian provinces. Approximately 62.5% of the North American population lives in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indiana. For the next activity, watch this video and complete the task. The video is about Pennsylvania's Amish country. So this is a link to the video, and then you can scan the QR code to watch the video. This is the task. After you watch the video, you have to fill in the statements with correct answers. There are 6 statements here. Number 1, in the video, the Amish people are living in. Number 2, the Amish ancestors were, and number 3, there are over Amish people in this country. Number 4, Rumspringa is the period for Amish teenagers to the community. Housework are done by hand. The farmers do not use motorized harvesters or to tend the farm.
Today, descendants of European settlers still live and work much as their forebears did, here in Lancaster County's Pennsylvania Dutch community. Though that nickname is a little misleading, their ancestors weren't Dutch, they were Swiss and German, or Deutsch. Persecuted for their faith at home, the Amish began coming to Pennsylvania in the 1720s in search of religious freedom. They settled into a rustic way of life here, guided by a strict set of traditions known as the Ordnung, or order. It laid out the principles of their religion and dictated every aspect of their austere lifestyle. Many of their descendants still carefully follow the Ordnung. But during an adolescent period called Rumspringa, young Amish are allowed to break with its guidelines and experience the modern world to decide for themselves whether they want to make a final commitment to their faith. Those who do will spend their lives raising their families in solid but plain houses with few modern conveniences, doing their housework and laundry by hand, and tilling their fields just as the first Amish did, without tractors or motorized harvesters, while tending some of the most productive farmland in the U.S., land that continues to allow this community to thrive. Today, there are over 30,000 Amish in Lancaster County alone. But 200 years of inbreeding have caused a wide range of genetic irregularities in their community. That's why gene hunters flock to this corner of Pennsylvania to study Amish DNA and help find cures for children and others who've been affected. Even with their expanding numbers, it's getting harder for the Amish to keep the modern world at bay. As more and more people fill new subdivisions that were once farms, some wonder if the Amish way of life will be able to survive.
Now for the answers, we have to fit in the statements with correct answers. So for number 1, the answer is, in the video, the Amish people are living in Lancaster County. Number 2, the Amish ancestors were Swiss and German. Number 3, there are over 30,000 Amish people in this county. Rumspringa is a period for Amish teenagers to leave the community. Housework and laundry are done by hand. The farmers do not use motorized harvesters or tractors to tend the farms. Just now, you saw pictures of the Amish community and also the place where they live and their activities. So here you can find more information about the Amish. Make notes about the history of Amish people, their population, interesting facts, and their homes. You can work in pair, share your information with the rest of the class when your task is done. Okay, so web quest tip. When you find a website with interesting information, add it to your favorites. So remember that you can do this activity and then you can find some information on history, population, interesting facts, and homes of the Amish. Let's move on to another section of the lesson. This is grammar. For grammar, we are going to learn present perfect, and then we are going to learn both affirmative and negative. Use of present perfect. We use the present perfect to talk about things in the past when we don't say exactly when they happened. There are two. Affirmative is a positive and also the negative. There are two types of sentences. So let's look at affirmative. Example, I've read about England in books. He or she or it had lessons at home. You, we, they've lived all their life in the USA. Now for negative, I haven't visited a big city. He, she, it hasn't used a computer. You, we, they haven't traveled by plane. Look at the table and then answer the questions. What are apostrophe VE and apostrophe S short for? So the answer is, it is short for have or has. Number B, what do we add to the end of regular verbs in Present perfect. Answer is D or ED. Dear students, read the spelling rules on page 83 of your textbook and then look at the irregular verbs list on page 126. Then write the past participles of these verbs. So you have go, make, see, do, love, come, give, want, and think. Let's look at the rules. Present perfect spelling rules. For most verbs, add ed to the infinitive to form the past participle. So you have walked, so it is walked. Jump, present perfect will be jumped. Some past participles are irregular but the same as the simple past simple. So you have, so had, say, said. Some past participles are irregular and different from the past simple. For example, do, did. The past participle is done. Second, give, gave. The past participle is given. So check the irregular verbs list on page 126. So let's look at the answers. Go is gone, make is made, see is seen, do is done, laugh is laughed, come is come, give is given, want is wanted, think is thought. Now read the sentences about Andrew Miller and choose the correct words. Let's look at the first one. His parents have allowed him to go to Britain. Number 2, he has tried English food. Number 3, he hasn't seen or saw a football match. Number 4, he isn't or hasn't called his parents in the USA. Number 5, his family are sad because they have or they has missed him. Okay, now look. Andrew has gone to Britain. He's still there. Andrew has been to Britain. He went there in the past, but he isn't there now. So that's how you use has gone or has been. Now for number 4, complete the sentences with gone or been. Number 1, Fiona isn't here. She's for a walk. Number 2, I haven't to Paris, but I'd love to go. Number 3, we have in a hot air balloon. It was great. Number 4, Scott hasn't to school yet. He's still here. So let's look at the answers. For number 3, his parents have allowed him to go to Britain. Number 2, he has tried English food. Number 3, he hasn't seen a football match. Number 4, he hasn't called his parents in the USA. And number 5, his family are sad because they have missed him. And then for number 4, Fiona isn't here. She's gone for a walk. Number 2, I haven't been to Paris, but I've loved to go. Number 3, we have been in a hot air balloon. It was great. Number 4, Scott hasn't gone to school yet. He's still here.
Unit 7. Grammar. Exercise 5. Living with the Amish.
Charlotte is an 18-year-old student from Devon in England. A TV producer has chosen her and 5 other British teenagers to take part in a program called Living with the Amish. Charlotte has lived away from home before, but she hasn't been to the USA. She has just arrived at the airport in Ohio and is very excited. Some members of the Amish family that she will be staying with have come to meet her. Charlotte hasn't got much luggage with her, She has left her fashionable clothes, her laptop computer, and her mobile phone at home. She has not brought her makeup with her either, because Amish women don't wear makeup.
Here, students, you have to complete the paragraph with the present perfect form of the verbs in brackets, and then listen and check. So let's look at the answers. So 1, you have has chosen. Number 2, has lived. Number 3, hasn't been. Number 4, has just arrived. Number 5, have come. Number 6, has left. And number 7, hasn't bought. Now it is quiz time. How much do you know about Amish? So you can do this quiz by scanning this QR code, and the link is also given here. Dear students, I hope you have enjoyed the lesson today, and then thank you. I am Madam Gan. So signing off. Before that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It is called Educator OmniTube. So signing off. Bye bye.